Good afternoon, students. The next topic, the next chapter, in fact, is social research methods and data collection. So, we'll start with the social research methods. This is a very important topic because next year, when you do research, you will be using one of these methods. So, first, you have to know what are the methods of research, what are the different types of research. Okay, so any research that you do is based on three things. That is the purpose of the research, why you are doing research, and then the process of doing research, how you are doing research, and then the outcome, that is the result of the research. So all the research that you do can be divided or classified into these three categories: purpose of doing research, process of doing research, and outcome of the research. So let us see the first thing, which is the purpose. So under the purpose, there are four categories: descriptive research, analytical research, exploratory research, and predictive research. So in this, exploratory research is in detail for you, which we'll see later again, but I'll explain in this chapter also. This is just the introduction for this chapter. So first thing is descriptive research. Descriptive means it is more of written things, like in detail. So you can remember, descriptive means detailed. So everything about a particular topic you will be studying. So that is why here it says you will be studying what, when, why, how, who, and everything. So like this, you will be studying everything about a particular topic. That's why it's called descriptive. So for example, if you are studying about HIV, you will study who gets HIV, why they get HIV, when they get HIV, what is HIV, how a person gets HIV, how can you prevent. So every aspect of a particular topic, if you study, that is descriptive research. For example, if you want to prevent diarrhea in children, then you will learn or do a research on why children get diarrhea, how to prevent the diarrhea, what are the methods of preventing diarrhea. So like that. So every aspect of a particular topic, if you study, then it is descriptive research. So there may be different characteristics. You should remember that in any research there are variables. Variables means the age of the child is a variable, the sex of the child is a variable, the educational qualification of a child is a variable, or if you are doing it in an adult, then the income levels of an adult is a variable, then the marital status of the adult is a variable. Like that, there are different variables, and each of these variables have an effect on the outcome of the research. So for example, if a person is well educated, then they understand about prevention of HIV, whereas an uneducated person will not immediately understand about the prevention of HIV. So like that, each of these factors or variables play an outcome in the research. So that is why these variables are very important. In descriptive research, you will be studying about all the variables in a detailed manner. That is why it's called descriptive or detailed research. Okay, the next topic on the purpose of the research is analytical research. So analytical research means you analyze data. So the data is very important, and you analyze a particular outcome or the process. So if HIV can be prevented by taking a particular medicine, and you are doing research on the medicine and how it prevents HIV or cures HIV, you will see the effect. You will be studying in detail about the effect of that medicine. So that is one example of how analytical research is. So you will analyze the various data that is available. So that is the most important aspect of the research. In descriptive, you will be explaining in detail, but analytical research is more about analysis of a phenomena based on the data. Okay, so the data is very important, and you will analyze the data in analytical research. So that will help you to come to a conclusion, and this is the purpose of the research. The next is exploratory research. Exploration means going into areas where nobody has gone. Okay, it's a new area. Okay, so for example, you will be gathering information about a preliminary stage of investigation. That is, you are going into a new area and studying about it. For example, coronavirus has no treatment because the disease itself is new, and there are no treatments available, no vaccines available. So any research that is done for the treatment of coronavirus or vaccine of coronavirus is all exploratory. There is no previous knowledge about that particular research. You cannot even do a proper literature review because this disease is a very new one. So such kind of research is called as exploratory research. So exploratory research is usually based on hypothesis. Hypothesis means what you think will be the outcome. As a researcher, you have something in mind. So for example, if you have a new drug called X, then in your mind, if you think X will cure coronavirus, then that is your hypothesis. The use of drug X will help in the cure of coronavirus. That is your hypothesis. So after you do research, you will either prove your hypothesis, that is, your drug will help in curing coronavirus. Then that means your hypothesis is true, or your hypothesis can be wrong. That is, the use of drug X will not cure coronavirus. So both is useful for the knowledge of people. So then next person will not use the same drug to help in treating coronavirus. So I hope you understood this area. Exploratory research is a new research that nobody has ever done, and that's why it's called exploring or finding new this thing, and it is based on a hypothesis. Okay, and the researcher is the one who will hypothesize. Then the last type of this type of research is the predictive research. So you are predicting there is a relationship or association between two things. So one common association that we all think of is all smokers are likely to get lung cancer. That is a common association. So when you do research on that, you take 100 people who are smoking, then find out whether they get lung cancer. So that is predictive research. So similarly, coronavirus affected people, whether they have lung problems. So that is also predictive research. So this can be a diagnostic research also. So you are predicting whether a particular disease can be diagnosed or treated in a particular way. So a lot of statistical data are used, like regression, linear regression, logistical regression, which is all too high, which we are not going to go in detail, but I'm just telling you that these are statistical methods that will help you to predict. So once you collect the data, then you use these statistical tools, then you will be able to come to a research conclusion. So that is predictive research. Then the next type of research based on the process. So based on the process, there are two types of research. Process means how we do research. One is qualitative research and the other is quantitative research. There's a little difference, qualitative, quantitative. So qualitative is usually based on the behavior or the what people think. So that is qualitative. Here, for example, most sociologists do qualitative research. That is, you get information from people through through interviews, through focus group discussions. So all that is qualitative data. So here the data is not in the form of numbers. In qualitative data, the data is in qualitative research, the data is in the form of words or pictures or objects. For example, you sit in a village and you have a focus group discussion with a group of village people. Then you find out where the well is. So well is one place. Then where are the different houses? So you can draw a diagram. That is one of the methods of data collection. So you have a picture instead of numbers. Whereas the next topic, quantitative research, is mainly the measurement of quantity or amount. So this is mainly numbers. So for example, when you collect data about the income level of a person, then it is in numbers. Okay, and same way, whether the age of the person, that data is in the form of numbers. So this kind of data is quantitative. So you can measure the data that is collected in this type of research. So this is the type of process. So as I said, qualitative data, the research process is mostly for focus group discussions or interview method, and the data is in the form of words or pictures. Whereas in quantitative data, the measurement is in terms of numbers or quantity or amount. Okay, and usually you use a questionnaire to collect data. Okay, so this is quantitative research. The next type of research or classification of research is based on the outcome, that is, what is the result of the research. So the first thing is applied research. Applied research means there is a particular question or a problem and you are trying to find the solution. So usually it is during the job you find that there are particular problems. For example, when we work in a leprosy hospital, we find that some patients come with repeated ulcers even though we give free footwear to them. So we want to find out why that person, in spite of being given free footwear, they are not wearing the footwear. So that is applied research. There is a problem that we have identified in our work and we are trying to find a solution. So that is application of our research knowledge. So we may ask leprosy patients who are given free footwear but still they get ulcer. We collect all of them as samples, and then each of them we ask why they do not wear footwear or how they got ulcers. Some of them may say that they walked barefoot inside the house. So they may tell that we wore footwear outside the house but inside we were not wearing. Or some people may say, I went to do farming work or went to do open field defecation, that is why I got ulcer. So these are different reasons that the patient gives. So that is the data, and then you will analyze the data and find which is the common problem. So that is how applied research is. There is a problem in your work and you are trying to do research to find out the solution for the problem. On the other hand, fundamental or pure research is mostly a basic research. That is, it is done where there is mainly theoretical. For example, if you see in Vellore Institute of Technology, they do a lot of theoretical research. And even in Karigiri, for example, if you do research which is not applicable to patient care, then it is theoretical research. I'm not able to get a apt example for that, because most of the research that we do in Karigiri is based on patient problems, and that is why most of it is applied research. Whereas if it's just a pure theoretical knowledge with no benefit for patients or no benefit for anybody, but it is just a theoretical research, then it is called as fundamental or basic or pure research. Okay, these are the different types of research based on process, outcome and purpose. Okay, then there are other types of research. What are the other types of research? One is the longitudinal research. Okay, longitudinal research is you get a group of people and then you follow them up for a long time. That is longitudinal research that we are going to see in detail. Okay, and then field research. Field research is where you do research in the field, like you go to the house of the patient and do research there. Same way, laboratory research is mainly in the laboratory. Simulation means you create situations. That is, it does not happen, it is not a real situation, but you create situation and then do research in that. Historical research is you use data which is already available. You are not collecting data, I mean, in the future, but whatever is there already in the patient records or newspapers or things like that, you use that for research. It's called historical research. It's the name itself you can find. History means past. So what has happened in the past, you do research. Then conceptual research, that is, conceptual means it's a new idea, it's a theoretical knowledge which you have. So it's a new concept, nobody has thought about it, and you are doing research, then it is conceptual research. Then empirical research means it is based on experiences or observations. This mainly if you do research on leprosy patients and you already know what is happening, then based on your experience you are validating through the research. You may ask, when we have seen it in patients, why do we have to do research again? Here is where the term validity comes. When you observe something in a patient, you cannot publish it saying that it is true. You have to use a proper process, do proper sampling, and then do a research, and then only you can come to a conclusion that it is applicable to the whole population. That is why for validity you do research, and that is empirical research. The next topic that you are going to study in this chapter is survey. This is one method of research. Okay, so survey is common. We have already studied this in the previous chapters. That's why I included it here. So survey is usually getting information from a large number of people. Okay, so how do you get information from large number of people? You use questionnaires and interviews. Okay, there is another word called census. Okay, we discussed yesterday in another topic. Census means every single person in the population you get information, then it is called census. Okay, so who does census? The government does census once in 10 years. So they carry a piece of paper, and the teachers or whoever is designated to do census, they carry similar things like questionnaire. They get information about the age of the people in a house, the names, the religion. So all this information they gather. This is gathered from 100% of population, then it becomes a census. But if you collect information from only a sample or a small group of the whole population, then it becomes a survey. Okay, for example, if you want to find out after the election who the people voted for, okay, then you have to get information from 100 males and 100 females in Chennai, 100 males and 100 females from Vellore, 100 males, 100 females from Tiruvannamalai, 100 males, 100 females from Ranipet. So each city you interview 100 males and 100 females. Why do you interview 100 males, 100 females? So that you have stratification. That is, if you take only 200 males, 200 males, 200 males, then you are biased towards the males. So when the results come, it will not be applicable to the whole population. Whereas if you take 100 males and 100 females, then at least it represents the population. If you want to further stratify, then you can say 50 educated males, 50 uneducated males, 50 educated females, 50 uneducated females. Okay, if you still want to stratify, if you still want to make your research to be proper, then you can further divide them into categories. Of the educated people, you interview 25 with postgraduate qualification, 25 with undergraduate qualification. Of the uneducated people, you interview 25 people with coolie jobs, 25 people in other jobs. So like that, if you further divide into smaller categories, you will get better results. But the only problem is it will be costly and it will be time taking. So usually interviews and questionnaires are used in this survey method. So you can give the survey and tell the people to fill it. Okay, and the people who fill it are called as the respondents. Okay, and the researcher has to make the questionnaire based on what your research is about. Okay, you are the one who are going to do research, so you create a questionnaire based on what you think is important to answer your research question. Okay, and there are two types of answers that you can have in the questionnaires. So you can have close-ended questionnaires. Okay, closed questionnaire means the person who is answering can only say yes or no, or he can say he can only tick the choices that you have already given. Okay, so that is a closed question. For example, are you a male or a female? So there are only two or three answers. They can either say male, female, or third gender. And same way you can say, are you literate or illiterate? So there are only two options. They are either literate or illiterate. On the other hand, if you say what is your educational qualification, that is an open-ended question. So the answer can be in detail. Each person will write their own answer. They can say I am 4th standard, I am 5th standard, I am 4th pass, I am 5th fail. So like that there will be different kinds of answers. So the questions are very important, how you ask the question, because some questions if you ask, they will be very close ended and you will get only little information from the participants of the study. Same way, if you want to ask about the behavior of the person or the feeling of a person, then you use a Likert scale. Okay, Likert scale has 3 or 4 answers. It can be either be agree, disagree, that is 2 scales, or you can say strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree, so that is 4. Like that you can divide the Likert scale. So for example, if you say I will sit next to a HIV affected person, so that is a behavioral feeling. Each person may have different feelings. So if you are a health worker who is working with leprosy, working with HIV patients, then you may say I strongly agree that I will sit next to a HIV patient, because you do not have any fear. Whereas a person who is very scared, who is not in the health field, they may say that I strongly disagree. So each person has their own perspective. So that is why these questionnaires are very important in gathering data. Just like we said closed-ended questionnaires, we can have open-ended questionnaires in a research survey. So when you have open-ended questionnaire, you may get qualitative data. That is, you may not get a proper answer, but you may have a wide-ranging information. For example, you do not give choice to the participant to answer. You may ask questions like, what do you think about leprosy? That is an open-ended question. Whereas if you ask what is your opinion about leprosy, and you give choices like it is a disfiguring disease, it is an infectious disease, it is a deadly disease, then the participant can answer either one of these 3 only. Okay, they do not have the choice to tell their own answers. Whereas open-ended questions will just have the questions. There are no preset choice of answers. Question can be, what do you think of leprosy? So the participant may give one big paragraph of information there, telling what all they think of leprosy. So the advantage of having open-ended questionnaire is you may get answers which you never even thought of. Whereas close-ended question, it will only give answers which were in your mind, and it limits the information that you get. So that is the difference between open-ended and closed-ended questionnaires. Okay, then there are different ways in which you can give the questionnaires. What are the different ways? You can give a self-completion questionnaire. If an educated person is there, then you can give the questionnaire. They will themselves fill all the information and give it to you. Okay, and these questionnaires can also be sent by post, especially if you do not find samples in the city where you are living, and the samples are all in another city. Then you can send the questionnaires through post, and the people who are filling it can send it by post. These days a lot of people use online questionnaires. You can use Google Docs, or you can use WhatsApp, or these kind of social media, or even Twitter or Facebook, to give questionnaires and then collect the information. Or you can even visit the individual person's house or you can do the telephone interview. So there are different methods of using survey as a study. Okay, so we've already seen the interview about closed questionnaires and open questionnaires, so this is the same thing. So closed questions are usually having less answers, and it is based on what perception the interviewer has, whereas an open-ended questionnaire, it can have a lot more information. Only thing, it will be time consuming because there is a lot of information and you have to select which information is relevant for you and important for you that can be used for your study. So that is about the structured interviews with closed questions. So this is about survey method of research. Next, we'll in your syllabus you have exploratory, experimental type of research and other types of research, which we will see in the next class. Thank you.